I've got a cell phone charger back here if you need one.
Okay, thank you.
Do anything fun in Wicker or just going to work?
No, just meeting somebody for lunch.
Oh, cool. Where are you going?
The empanadas place.
Ah, okay, nice. I was there yesterday. We took my daughter to ShabuPlus, and I've been hiccuping ever since.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's so good. I don't know if you've ever been, but
No, I haven't, so we'll see.
it's very good. All you can eat. Have you ever had shabu shabu?
No, I haven't.
So that's like Japanese hot pot,
Oh, cool.
right? So they bring you out the meat, and then there's like a rotator. What was it called? Like a conveyor belt, and it has all the stuff that you put into it. Right there. It's a lot of fun, and it's all you can eat. So again,
That's awesome.
I'm like stuffed. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
God, I'm starving.
Yeah, I do intermittent fasting, so I don't eat till like 3.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. I'm very happy.
Yeah. I feel like I accidentally do that. I like work night shift, so I'll like sleep all day, and then it'll be 5 p.m. and I'll tell my friends I haven't eaten yet today, and they're like, Anna, what the heck?
Yeah, but yeah, that's your schedule.
Yeah.
Night shift can be really interesting. Do you find that conflicts with like when you're not working and people wanting you to go out?
It kind of depends. I feel like yes, it does conflict. Like as an overall answer, but I like go through phases where it's easier than others. Like some days are easier than others. Like I'll have periods of time where I'm just like I can just sleep into oblivion. So, and then I end up feeling like I'm sleeping all my days off away.
Sure.
And then other times where I'm like a little bit more resilient and I can like wake up early after a shift and like reorient myself easier. But
has your shift been late night for like a long time, or?
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 2 years.
Oh, okay. What type of work do you do?
I'm a nurse.
Oh, okay.
So I worked night shift at Loyola Hospital for a year and a half. And so I was like driving out from the city to outside the city during like rush hour like when everybody was I was going to work when everybody was leaving work. I was just like my commute was up to an hour.
Oh yeah.
And coming home after a shift, that was hard after nights because I would like try so hard to not fall asleep at the wheel. But now I work downtown at Lurie's.
Okay.
And so it's like that's been a lot easier.
Yeah, from here to downtown it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Even in bad traffic. I'm in Edgewater, so I'm not far also. And same thing, you're just on Lakeshore Drive. At the right time, it's not too bad. And I guess at rush hour at that time, nobody's going that way. Yeah, so it's definitely a better drive.
Yeah, it's not bad. Are you from Chicago?
I'm not. Actually, I'm from California.
Oh, really?
Yep, yeah, born and raised out there. Are you from here originally?
I'm not from Chicago, but I'm from Illinois.
Okay.
So I like grew up in north central, like farmland, Illinois.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's outside of Chicago. It's basically all farmland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I've learned. I've driven through it a few times, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it's just flat. There's no mountains. There's no nothing. It's just corn, soy, and that's it.
Yep, pretty much.
So you decided to move to the city, get a little more life out here?
Yeah, a little bit. My mom's originally from the suburbs. My dad's from the city.
Okay.
So I think we have kind of some family in the city, and my older sister, like lived on the north side for a while after graduation. She was like, you should do it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's really nice here. As far as living in the city goes,
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't feel like you're in a city.
Yeah, I feel like it's a manageable city.
Absolutely.
You know, the size isn't too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like I can get out of the city easily. But there's still like areas where it's like hustle bustling.
Oh yeah, like you're going to downtown.
Yeah.
Here, right? It's super busy. But then yeah, like up here in Edgewater or Andersonville, it's super quiet.
Yeah.
I lived actually in Andersonville, not far from where I picked you up at, for a while. Also, and I loved it. Like I would walk here down more to the lake right here.
Yeah.
It was like a morning thing, and it was so nice. Because do you know where the Jewel is right over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lived across the street from that. It was like
Nice.
right there. So it was so convenient, so nice. Really loved the neighborhood. And it was like, oh, you forget you're in the city. Like when you're walking down, like Bryn Mawr is so quiet.
Yeah.
Once you get off of Clark, once you get off of Ashland, it's just so quiet over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I really love that. But if you want to be downtown, if you want the bustle, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Or go to the beach on a nice day,
Mhm.
and all of Chicago is outside, so that's nice too.
Yeah, I feel like Chicago has a lot of different neighborhoods for different types of people, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really love, I've loved living here, honestly.
That's great. You said it's been about 2 years for you here? Or?
Yeah, about 2 years. But I've been coming up to the city for like my whole life.
Sure.
Just living here has definitely been new. Where from California are you from?
Sure. So I grew up near San Francisco in wine country.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Right? You know, I never drank wine. I still don't. But it was, I mean, the weather is really, it was unbelievable. Perfect weather.
Really?
All year round. It's like never snows. The first time I saw snow was when I moved here.
Nice.
And then I moved to LA for my 20s. So it was all warm weather. That's very
That's
much
nice. Yeah, I've yet to visit California. I've never been.
I highly recommend. Feel free to stay. Just go there.
Yeah.
That's what I suggest. Yeah, and I tell people, like, if they were to take Chicago and put it in Los Angeles, I would never want to leave.
Yeah.
Because it's a wonderful city. Like you said, there's little pockets. There's something for everybody here.
Yes.
And that's what I love. Especially, like, after Memorial Day to Labor Day, the city is just alive.
Oh.
Every borough. There's so much stuff to do.
100%. I always say like Chicago summers are like the best.
The best.
I had the best summer this year in Chicago,
Oh, nice.
and it's so fun. They're like the street festivals.
Yeah.
Just everything is incredible. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I love about Chicago. Like, that culture's all there.
Mhm.
They just bundle up and disappear for 6 to 9 months.
I know, yeah. That's the big downside.
Yeah.
Like, I feel heavy effects of
Mhm.
winter when it starts rolling around.
Oh, I bet, yeah. How is the weather? I guess because you're in, like, the northern part of Illinois, so it's still up here. It's kind of the same weather pattern, right? I know southern Illinois.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably a little, like a tad more south, but mostly west from Chicago.
Okay.
And I would say the city is overall colder than the country, but the winters, I think, are maybe a little bit more difficult to manage in the country. I only say because, like, we have less resources to, like, clean up the streets.
Sure.
And, like, keep it, Chicago's, like, directly on top of it whenever it snows here, and we don't always get that, like, in a small town, Illinois.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, they're like, we'll maybe do the main roads. We'll get somebody to plow it, but that's
Yeah.
about it. Or if not, if you want anything else, you have to pay somebody.
Yeah, and then, like, there's country roads that get really dangerous, and we've had a lot of car accidents in the wintertime.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, that can be really difficult, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So do you like your work as a nurse? Has it kind of calmed down at all since COVID? Like, now that it's
Hard to
officially over?
say.
Okay.
Because I do feel like, maybe overall a little less busy, but I feel like you don't really notice because so many people have quit because of COVID. So, like, staffing is still, like, an issue.
Yeah.
So many people, like, retired early and changed careers during COVID that it was just kind of like, now we're still feeling the effects of it, but, like, the support, I think, is a little less,
Oh, yeah. No, and that makes perfect sense. And I was actually talking to someone, the same thing. She was a career nurse for several years. And she was like, I don't know how they expect people to live like this. Like, I'm not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm basically killing myself. And then you work that hard and then get sick because somebody there gets you sick. It's like giant risk. There's a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And there's no support at all. Like, you still have to do everything correctly. You still get written up for showing up a couple minutes late. Like, it was the same, like, expectation. And then on top of that, she was like, there's people that would refuse to pay us more, but that same person would get a travel nurse job at some other place paying more.
Yeah.
And then get hired back at the same spot as a travel nurse instead.
I know, yeah. I feel like a lot of people are like leaving bedside and finding better careers that pay more and are less stressful. Yeah. So I think that it's the institution's job to make bedside more attractive to people, and they're like, oh well, people back in the day had to wait like this many years to go to day shift, or like we didn't get paid nearly as much, and it's like, well, the cost of living is higher and like the work is more stressful than it was before because we're not like properly staffed.
Right, exactly. It's like, yeah, back then you were paid better and it made more sense. That's how economies are supposed to work. The money's supposed to go up too. Not just in the insurance companies.
So it's just, I feel like since I switched jobs, it's been a lot better.
That's good.
When I was at Loyola, it was like so much worse than at Lurie. I feel like my stress levels are overall lower.
That's good.
And they pay me more, which is nice.
That's what I was hoping. But
yeah.
Do you think bedside is kind of where you want to do, or do you want to kind of go somewhere within the medical field?
I'm still kind of figuring that out. I feel like with this job change, I feel like it's putting my career in a different direction, and so I'm kind of feel like I'm starting a little bit more from scratch. Since I've never been in the pediatric world previously. Mm-hmm. So I am deciding whether or not I want to like get my master's and like do more nurse practitioner deal, or try a different route like in education or stuff like that. We'll see.
Yeah, you've got a lot going with. So now you're working within the pediatric unit specifically. So it's a little change. Is that?
Yeah.
Is it just because there's so much more involved in pediatric care than in?
I think I just wanted to try something new, and I always wanted to work in pediatrics. I really like. The reason I became a nurse was to work with kids. But then I like went down a different route when I first started my career. And so this was me kind of like going back to that and simply trying it out. And so far I've really liked it now that I've started getting my groove and kind of knowing what the differences are and figuring that out. So
that's really interesting, and it definitely makes. I guess I could see how it would be a lot different and similar, but different in a lot of ways. So it feels like you're starting over. How long have you been a nurse overall then?
I've been a nurse overall, I would say like almost 3 years.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Like
so yeah, you're still
kind of in the 2.5 to 3 year mark.
Sure. Yeah, just kind of figuring out where you want to.
Yeah.
And so you said education, so working as an educator or in the education field? Or?
Like as a nurse educator.
Sure.
But that, I feel like that kind of takes a while in peds world, you know? Pediatrics, I think, has a higher, like, nurse retention rate, so...
Oh, really?
I, like, Loyola, when I was working in adults, like, I could have probably moved up a lot quicker than in a place like Lurie's.
So. Interesting. And that's how you keep people. You keep them motivated, keep them rewarding them for what they do, and obviously pay them well. So that's important.
Yeah, it's definitely like more challenging in certain ways. Like I have to be more detail oriented.
Yeah, I can imagine. Are there a lot more regulations too when working with kids? Like,
just like with kids, health-wise. I work in the ICU.
Sure. Yeah.
So they can decline really quickly.
Of
So
course.
it's kind of a matter of kind of being more on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they are more susceptible to certain infections and that while in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I have to be a little bit more vigilant about that. So
Yeah, I bet.
mm-hmm. But I will say, people always ask me, how is it dealing with parents?
Oh.
And I'm kind of like, I would much rather deal with parents than an adult patient any day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I feel like now a lot of my adult patients,
Yeah.
I feel like there's more of a bitterness from adults being in the hospital.
Oh, like they're upset about being,
Yeah,
okay.
like they're a little bit. There's a higher percentage of difficult, like, adult patients than difficult parents. Like, parents want their kids to, like, get healthier and, like, they want their kids being taken care of. Whereas I felt like a lot of the population that I dealt with in my last job was I don't want to take care of myself. So, like, there was more obstacles with that, I think, than parents want to. I mean, there's difficult parents. There's difficult, there's still difficult instances, but I feel like I run into more instances where they're, like, more helpful and are just, like, worried about their kid, and I feel like, a lot easier.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I could see why people would be concerned. I mean, I'm very much like a protected parent when it comes to that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to cooperate with medical practitioners. So I'm not going to make a stink about it usually.
Yeah.
So, but you're absolutely right. I mean, people aren't going to do the thing where you're like, hey, if you quit smoking, these tumors might shrink or these tumors might not keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, all right, cool. That's, I'll just light up another one. That's great advice. Thanks, doctors.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, getting parents to do something for their child is a lot easier, I think, than getting somebody to do something for themselves.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, people treat they treat themselves very poorly, especially when it comes to health stuff.
Yeah.
Where do you land on as far as, like, the approach? I'm reading about nutrition and all this health stuff, and they're talking about how much it's related, your food you're eating and how well you're eating and how well you're taking care of yourself, to keeping yourself out of the hospital and reverting some of these things. But it's not quite the medical approach to it. What's your observation?
Oh, I'm like 100% on board with, like, trying to put more efforts into, like, keeping people out of the hospital and, like, treating illness.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm not, like, a fanatic necessarily about nutrition where I'm, like, crazy about it, but I do think that there's, like, a happy medium and a good way to take care of yourself. And, like, I, like, grew up with, like, my family members being in, like, the medical field too, so I feel like a healthy lifestyle was always, like, honed in to me, but not to the point. I feel like there's a happy medium. I'm not gonna necessarily be like, oh, you have to do everything perfect all the time.
Sure.
But I think, like, I mean, research shows that exercise and eating well keeps you good, you know?
Yeah, it's like, what is it, like 70% reduction in all-cause mortality if you exercise like 30 minutes a day, right? It's like, oh, okay, great. Like, that's, the health benefits are far beyond the time.
Yeah, 100%. It's like starting early and keeping the habit going, I guess.
I'm a little late for starting early, but...
Yeah. Well, that's good. Take care of yourself.
Right.
It's never too late.
That's exactly right. And so your family's in the medical field too, then?
Yeah. A few doctors and nurses.
Yeah, my aunt's a nurse. She's great. She, like, helps with my grandma a lot.
Oh, nice.
Right, because she can read. You know, my grandma's getting up there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, let's read the blood pressure. Let's read where this stuff's happening,
Mm-hmm.
and like they'll call her and she'll be like, "That's go to the ER," or she's like, "That'll be fine." You know, like
Yeah.
it's nice the free medical advice. I should really use her a lot more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, free medical advice is nice for sure.
Yeah. How does that work for you as a nurse, right? Especially with kids, I imagine, where you see how bad things can be.
Yeah.
Are you super casual about your health, or are you like, if you sneeze one time, you're at the ER?
I would say I'm probably more on the side of casual about my health. I can like spot an emergency, and like I don't know. I feel like I know when I need to go to the hospital, but I feel like I ran into a lot of people when they don't know what's going on.
Right.
They're more likely to like go to the doctor for no reason.
Sure.
So I would say maybe I'm more casual about it because now I like know what's going on, if something is going on, whether or not I need to like go to the hospital or not.
That makes sense. Yeah, and having the training and know-how
Yeah.
to see it and say, okay, this is what that is, and this isn't what that is. Like I just learned about turbulence, right? Like no plane has ever gone down from turbulence. Also, you're going at 500 miles an hour. By the time you feel it, it's already way gone. It's never going to take you down. But people aren't educated enough to know, so they're in fear of it.
Yeah.
So I would love to know, since I got 4 minutes with you, what do you feel like is a piece of medical training that all people would benefit from? Like just some medical know-how.
CPR.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's where you were headed, but that's the first thing I thought of.
If it's the first thing you thought of, then that's the answer. Because it truly is that of like, to be able to resuscitate someone in that, and there's to get the timing right on the pumping and how to crane the neck and do all that stuff. It's very important. I had a baby, so you have to learn kind of neonatal CPR is like a thing they teach you at the hospital. They're like, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. I also feel like a skill that I've taken from my profession is being able to prioritize a little bit better and like compartmentalize like what needs to be done over like what's not. I don't know if that
stuff in general or health.
Yeah, okay. I feel like life in general, like not really kind of learning to figure out like what's the most important thing at this moment that I need to do now.
I think that's great. So I should have gone into medical field. It sounds like.
Yeah.
That might have been the right thing to do there.
I don't know about that. It's definitely it's a weird thing where I'm like, I don't like love it, but I can't really imagine myself doing anything else. So.
Real? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because that was going to be a question I'd ask is if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? But you like working in the medical field. Sounds like you grew up with it, so there's a lot of history to it, so that makes sense. Yeah,
for sure. What ended up bringing you to Chicago?
My daughter. So her mom is from here, and after her mom and I broke up, she lived here with my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're here to be a dad.
Exactly.
Nice.
I've
Love
got
that. 8
more years.
Cool.
And then we can go back to California.
Nice.
So, yeah, I've been here 5 years now. Yeah, 5 years.
That's a decent amount of time.
It is, and I tell people I haven't acclimated to the cold. I just have snow-induced PTSD now. So.
Yeah.
That's where
I've lived here my whole life, and I'm still not used to the cold. I still hate it. I want to move away, but also family and.
Sure.
And
you can find some place. It's like what anywhere in the U.S. is a 2-hour flight. Well, for California. But it's not that bad. To Illinois, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
4 hours
that is nice.
Yeah, it's a short trip.
Yeah.
So it's very doable.
So do you have family in California then?
All my family's in California. Yeah. The only family I have here is my daughter.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you visit there often?
Not as often as I would like to, especially with COVID. So it was like 3 years where it was like no flying.
Yeah.
And then I was there in May of this year. Yeah, this year a few times in May and June. And then I'm planning on taking my daughter back there in spring.
Okay.
So, I try and go a couple times a year, I think is the plan. Hopefully it's enough. So where would you want to go? Say family was coming with you.
Colorado.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Like Denver or
Boulder, Denver.
Okay.
Around there.
Yeah, it's a great area.
I think when I went, Denver is a little bit quieter of a city than I would like.
Okay.
I like the busyness of Chicago better.
Sure.
But I love like the nature of like Colorado.
Sure.
You know, and if there's winter, at least you can like do fun things, you know?
That's very true. At least, yeah, some of the times, yeah. Yeah. When I lived in LA, I had roommates that were all from Colorado. They called it the Colorado halfway home. And they would say how like, it's great, it's really nice, it's not too cold, but there's just days where there's like 6 feet of snow and you're just not going anywhere for a while.
Oh, yeah, that's a little much.
Yeah. They were like, snowmobiles are a necessity.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was looking to move to, I think, Lamont, which is like 3 hours south of Boulder.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little warmer, a little nicer, very
nice.
quiet, but middle of nowhere. We actually drove there from here to there.
Oh, really?
Just flat nothing. Oh, the whole way, 16-hour drive.
Oh, wow. I did really like the mountains in Colorado.
Yeah.
I also really like Boston,
Okay.
which is also cold. All the places I like happen to still be cold. I wish I could like take one of those and put it in a warmer area.
Right, if only. They should just allow us to do that. Or like have full body suits where you don't feel the outside. That would be nice too. It's like you are right here.
Yeah, you can just pull up over here. It's fine.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
You're welcome. So nice chatting.
Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.